I don't even know why you are watching this. Maybe you are searching for something, or maybe you just stumbled here by accident. I'm in my late 70s now, and the strange thing is, inside, I still feel like I'm the same person I was at 20. But my body tells a different story. Time didn't just pass, it disappeared. I used to think I had endless time, that life was something I could always start later. I kept telling myself, not now, I'll do it later, when things get better, when I'm ready. But that later never came. I worked most of my life, thinking if I worked hard enough, earned enough, and became successful enough, I would finally feel alive. But I didn't. The more I achieved, the emptier I became inside. I remember coming home late at night to a silent apartment. I told myself this was normal, that I was building my future. But one day, I realized that wasn't my future. That was my life. I lost people slowly. First the calls became less, then the visits stopped, and eventually it was just memories. One day you realize some voices will never speak to you again, not because of anger, but because of time. I wasted so much energy worrying about things that don't matter anymore. Opinions of people who don't even remember my name and problems that now seem so small. I thought happiness was something big, something I had to chase. But it was never big. It was in small moments I ignored. If I could go back, I wouldn't change everything. I would just slow down. Look at people longer, listen more carefully, and be present instead of always being busy. Because I thought I had time, but time was never mine to keep. And if you are hearing this now, you still do. I spent my entire life chasing something I couldn't even define. Success, stability, respect, a better future. But I never asked myself a simple question. Am I actually living right now? I always believed life would begin later, when I got the job, bought the house, or finally had enough money. But life doesn't wait for ready. It just happens quietly. And one day you wake up and realize most of it is already behind you. I remember being young and thinking old people had all the answers. Now I am the old man, and I realize nobody ever had the answers. We were all just pretending. I lost friends not because of fights, but because of distance. Everyone got busy, tired, and thought there would be more time. But there wasn't. I used to think love, friendship, and family were things that would always stay the same. They don't. Everything changes when you are not paying attention. And the scariest part is, it doesn't feel like losing. It feels like nothing is happening. Until suddenly, everything is gone. If there is one thing I learned too late, it is this. The present moment is the only real thing you ever have. Everything else is just memory or imagination. Let him say so. People often think that aging brings a fear of death, but in reality, it's the quiet regret of unfulfilled moments that weighs heavy. As we grow older, death feels abstract, something we understand intellectually but not emotionally. What truly becomes palpable is the regret for the moments we didn't fully live. It's not the loud, dramatic kind. It's a silent companion that lingers when life quiets down. I'm not afraid of death itself. Rather, I fear the experiences I rushed past in pursuit of a bigger future. In my youth, I focused on building a career and achieving success, often hurrying through life, missing out on the little joys along the way. People often think that when you get old, you become afraid of dying. But that is not what happens. Death itself feels distant, almost abstract. What becomes real is something else. Regret. Not loud regret, but quiet regret, the kind that sits with you in silence when the house is empty. I am not afraid of death. I am afraid of the moments I didn't live while I was alive. When I was younger, I thought life was about building something big, a career, a name, a future I could be proud of. So I rushed through everything. I rushed through mornings because I had to get to work. I rushed through conversations because I had things to do. I rushed through people because I thought they would always be there. I didn't realize I was trading my life for urgency. I remember sitting at my desk for hours, thinking I was important because I was busy. But now, when I look back, I can barely remember most of those days. They didn't leave memories. They just disappeared. There were days when my children were small and I was physically there, but mentally somewhere else, thinking about bills, thinking about work, thinking about tomorrow. I thought providing for them was enough. But they didn't just need provision. They needed me, and I wasn't fully there. That is something I can never fix now. I also remember friendships that faded not because of betrayal, but because of neglect. We all said the same thing. We'll meet soon. We'll talk later. We still have time. But later slowly became never. And one day you stop receiving messages from people who once felt like permanent parts of your life. Not because of conflict, but because life quietly moved everyone in different directions. Now when I think of them, I don't feel anger. I feel distance, like a photograph that has faded too much to recognize every face. There were also simple moments I ignored completely. Sitting outside on a warm evening, talking without checking the time, laughing without thinking about anything else. I used to believe those moments were nothing special. Now I understand. Those were the moments that actually were life. Not achievements, not promotions, not money, just presence, just being there. If I could speak to my younger self, I would say, you are not running out of time to succeed. You are running out of time to experience. And those are not the same thing. Success can wait, but moments cannot, because once they pass, they do not come back in the same form. They become memory, and memory is not life. Memory is just proof that life already happened. If you're hearing this, I want you to understand something I didn't understand for most of my life. You're not preparing for life. You're already inside it, right now. Not tomorrow, not later, not when things are perfect, now. When I was young, I believed life had stages. First you struggle, then you build, then you enjoy. But it doesn't work that way, because by the time you reach the enjoy stage, you are already different, tired in ways you didn't expect, disconnected from things you once loved, and sometimes surrounded by everything you worked for, but still feeling something missing. I used to postpone everything. I postponed trips, thinking I would go when I had more money. I postponed conversations, thinking there would be a better time. I postponed rest, thinking I had to earn it first. I postponed happiness itself. That was my biggest mistake, because life doesn't punish you for not being perfect. It simply moves forward without you noticing. One day you wake up and realize the people you wanted to talk to are no longer easy to reach. The places you wanted to visit feel far away. The version of you that wanted things is no longer the same person. Time doesn't take things away suddenly. It removes them slowly while you are distracted. I remember one specific moment very clearly. It was a normal day, nothing special. I was sitting in a room just like this one, and I suddenly realized I had already lived more years behind me than ahead of me. That thought didn't come with panic. It came with silence, a very deep, heavy silence, because in that moment I understood something terrifying. Most of my life had already happened, and I hadn't fully noticed it happening. Not because it was bad, but because I was never fully present. If I could give you anything from my experience, it would not be advice. It would be awareness. Awareness that your life is not waiting for permission. It is unfolding right now in small moments you're probably not paying attention to. While you are thinking about the future, the present is quietly becoming the past. And once it becomes the past, you cannot go back and live it again. You can only remember it, and memory is never enough. So if you are listening to me, don't wait for the perfect version of life. Live the imperfect one you already have, because one day, even the imperfect version will feel like something you would give anything to return to. If you're still here, thank you for sticking around. Life is fleeting, and as we age, we realize that time doesn't pause for anyone. It keeps moving, often unnoticed until it's too late. I'm sharing this not to frighten you, but to encourage you not to wait for the right moment to embrace life. That moment may never arrive, so seize the day and prioritize what truly matters. If this resonates with you, consider subscribing for more insights and feel free to leave a like as a quiet acknowledgement of your presence. Thank you for your time.